What's up everyone, I'm Cam and this is Kayla. Thank you so much for tuning in to Carolina Fragrance Reviews. So today's going to be a fun video. You guys who've been watching know that Kayla loves the fresh, mass appealing fragrances. So we were discussing different fragrances that are a little more complicated. Now, I know all of you started your journey somewhere, all of us have, and none of us came out the gates. Well, I would say most of us didn't come out the gates liking ouds or fougères, barbershop fragrances, leather fragrances, different fragrances that are a little bit more complicated. So that's what we're doing, is going over complicated fragrances today. And then Kayla's going to say why she likes, dislikes, and then kind of rate them from worst to better. Without any further ado, let's get into this. So before we hop into the first fragrance, it's just a reminder, Kayla is not a fragrance reviewer, in case you have not seen any previous episodes. And like I said in the beginning, like leather wasn't an instant love for me. Oud wasn't an instant love for me. Patchouli wasn't an instant love for me. Matter of fact, I always associated patchouli with head shops and things like that. So nobody jumped out of their mom's womb loving oud. Unless maybe you lived in the Middle East or something. So
let's go ahead
and hop into the first one. We're starting with a rather popular fragrance from TIZIANA TERENZI. This is URSA. So what she's going to do is just kind of tell you what she gets from the fragrance, what it reminds her of, or whatever, and then if it's a pass or...
It's a very oud smelling, burnt tobacco smell, I would say.
That's pretty spot on, actually. It's pretty close to what it is, and it's
like a burnt weed.
You smell burnt weed? Are you talking about like the weeds in the yard, or are you talking about
in the yard?
Oh. You see where my head's like, puff, yeah, player.
I wouldn't.
So like burnt grass?
Burnt grass.
Burnt grass, oud, burnt tobacco. Do you get like an ashtray smell from it? Or I've heard some people say that before.
Ashtray? You know what? After smelling it,
I didn't try to plant that seed in your head, but I mean...
No, I might smell an ashtray.
Yeah, I've heard other people say it gives kind of like an ashtray vibe, or like somebody smoking cigarettes or something like that.
I don't know who would want to wear that, though.
Yeah, it's very popular. It's one of their most popular fragrances, and that's the thing. It's like... as I was telling you before, they have one that's called Secretions Magnifique that is supposed to smell like human secretions of all sorts, So yeah, and I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he was talking about one where people were getting into like a fragrance that smells like urine. I'm like, I guess those are people like golden showers. I got like water in my shower. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Some men do pee in the shower. I like that.
Well, everybody likes to pee in the shower, but like not necessarily like me pee on you type of thing. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. All right. So our next fragrance is from Imaginary Authors. This is Bull's Blood.
This one is I wouldn't recommend this one that much.
This one
is like a burnt musk smelling plant.
Okay, well there's patchouli in there, so that's probably the plant that you smell in there.
It's very musky, and I don't like it.
Yeah, it's Imaginary Authors is a beloved fragrance house. It's an indie house. Josh Meyer is the owner, perfumer, creator. He has really cool stories behind each one, and it has the imaginary note of bull's blood in here. But this is a fragrance that a lot of people don't like. But, and in terms of what we're thinking about too, is like, because I was explaining to her that, some people like to wear eccentric things, but like when we were talking about, it's like what you would want to smell on a man or something like that. This would be like 100% no-go, right?
Not even on a woman.
Nothing at all.
Not even.
And these are unisex. This one is unisex, and the Ursa is also unisex. But it smells like Ursa smells like hyper masculine to me. All right. Okay, so the next one is going to be one that was even complicated for me. And still is to a certain extent. If I was to wear this fragrance, it would not be unless I just was going to wear it around the house by myself. This is from BORTNIKOFF. This one is called Oud Monarch.
This is the one that I smelled before that. Almost has like a cheese smell.
That's what you said. Yeah.
It is very oud.
Yes, it has a fecal oud smell in the opening.
Yes.
In the opening, it has like that fecal oud.
Yeah, I would say fecal.
Yeah. So I don't know why people would want
Who
to.
would want to smell like cheese or fecal?
Or butt cheese.
Butt cheese.
But I mean, it also has like a chocolatey vibe to it when you smell it on skin.
I don't smell the chocolate.
You wouldn't. Like, you only smell it on the dry down on skin.
But I don't know if I would want to smell like chocolate either. I'm not.
I know it's one of those things that like I have
it.
smelled chocolate fragrances that I like to wear, but again, depending on like there's a fragrance from Tom Ford that's called Noir de Noir. It has like some of them have like cacao, and it just depends on how it's done. It don't smell like a Hershey's bar or nothing like that, but there's different chocolate fragrances that people like, and some of them are even along the lines of being sexy. But Oud Monarch is not sexy at all, and I wouldn't even attempt wearing that as trying to get my swagger groove on or anything. You know what I'm saying? All right. Okay, another fragrance. This one is from Tom Ford. Now, this is a beloved one, but leather was a note that was hard for me at first, but now I love it. I absolutely adore it. But I want your Tuscan leather. Yes, ma'am.
See, this isn't a bad smell.
No.
But I wouldn't want it on a person. It smells kind of like a new car smell. Like fresh leather.
A fancy, smells like the inside of a fancy new car to me.
Yeah, a fancy new car. I would love this spray for my car.
Yeah.
But not
on
a person.
Not on person. See, now for me, that's something that I would wear in a heartbeat, but like, let's just say we were going out all night on the town. That's not something that I would go reach for that unless you're like, yeah, we'll spray that leather mess on. You know what I mean? You'd have to already be like a full green light for something like that,
Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
Okay, so next up is from a house that is known and iconic for being complicated. From a zoologist, this is SQUID.
SQUID. Sounds like it would smell like a squid. Oh. I almost feel like it smells like you worked out and you smell like raunchy. Mixed with your cologne you sprayed on earlier in the day.
Like
it cover up.
Like a men's locker room trying to spray cologne on after like they already got funky and sweaty. And then try to spray cologne to cover it.
Oh, cover it.
Right?
Yeah, cover it.
I see where you're going with that.
They definitely need to.
And I have been in those locker rooms so many times where dudes, like, their pits just smelled like hot dogs and chili and onions.
If you don't want to try so hard with a cologne, you need
yeah, that's just try hard, right? Yeah. But, I mean, with all due respect, these are off-the-cuff reactions, and really, honestly, I mean, I've heard people say that they would wear this or that, like on formal affairs or something like that. It's like, for me, like if you're going to be around a lot of people, the last thing you want to do is just be really unique. You know what I mean? Especially like that's like a really unique. He's got a unique smell going on.
I might never talk to him again.
I know, right? Like that. Okay, so next up is a Middle Eastern fragrance. It is from AMOUAGE. Now, I know a lot of you absolutely love this, but did any of you love this like when you first were in designers? Like just spraying, you know, like Aqua de Joux and then just went straight to Jubilation, man. I think not. I didn't. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I mean,
I get a sweeter smell on this one.
It's not a bad fragrance at all.
It's not bad. It's kind of like an older fragrance. Sweeter, like when I mean older, more mature.
There you go. Yep.
It's not too bad, but there is a musk to it a little bit.
Now it has oud, it has Turkish rose, it has like myrrh. It's a lot of Middle Eastern
rose
stuff.
Is probably why it's sweet.
Yeah, and then the rose is also. I think when we first sprayed that before we turned the camera on, that was the one that you said smelled like either like an older man or like grandma or something like that. You still, I mean, I know when it first sprayed, you can like definitely pick up like a Turkish rose, and Turkish rose can have like that grandma effect, but as it dries down with the woods and the other spices.
That's what I mean by old grandma.
Oh, okay, so you still feel that way. Okay, all right.
Just a little bit.
All right.
Or grandpa.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll wait till the very end, and then you can just tell us which one is the absolute worst, and then which one is the most palatable. That way we don't have to get, you know, like rate all of them or whatever. Okay, so the next one. Now, the reason I threw this one in the mix is because I know some of you are on the ropes about fougères, especially barbershop fragrances, which does not mean they're bad. That just means people's taste is different. Some people like barbershop fragrances, some don't, and some of those reasons are because some people automatically, you know, take it to like their father or grandfather or something like that. But this is actually from Naughton & Wilson. This one is Gravitas pour Homme, and this is a fellow YouTuber's fragrance.
This one isn't bad. This isn't the worst one I smelled, but definitely an older.
Yes, it's just more grown up, more sophisticated,
mature. Kind of has a sweet.
It does. It's got vanilla in there.
Vanilla.
It's got some lavender.
Definitely sweet, but older styled.
Right.
Most of.
I definitely agree with that 100%.
I smell the vanilla though.
So. Do you like that fragrance? Do you think that would be something that you would like to smell?
I probably like it more.
Considering that these are complicated.
Yeah, complicated.
But would it be something that you would like to smell on a regular basis, somewhat regular basis, or would it just be like, it reminds me of my dad or my granddad? Or
a regular basis on if it was my granddad.
Okay. Understandable, and a lot of people feel that way about these type of fragrances. There is a fragrance house called Rose of Dove that is actually Elysium, that one that lets you smell that you really like. They have some of those fragrances like that are just like just really, really good, but they also have some that just really have that older vibe, you know, like that classic feel, which also in some cases feels dated to some people. I've talked to people privately that knew if they say anything publicly, they would be beat up in the comments for saying something, because Rose of Dove is one of the most respected people in the industry. But that doesn't mean that every fragrance he puts out has to be a hit for every single human being that smells them, you know? So we all have different tastes. So I'm not saying that this is Rose's fragrance, but I was just using that because he does a lot of fougère fragrances. All right.
Doesn't smell bad.
Nope. Okay, so another one I thought would be kind of teeter-totter, not like super complicated. It's actually like even like Gravitas Pour Homme is not super complicated, but I just want to kind of mix things up with different styles of fragrances that are outside of that clean, fresh vibe that you like so much. This one is from Robert Piguet. This one is called Oud Delice. A totally different type of oud. Like we had oud and Jubilation Man, we had oud and oud Monarch, and now we've got Oud Delice, which is kind of a gourmand twist with an oud.
I could tolerate it on somebody, but it's kind of like a musky sweetness, vanilla scent. I would say like vanilla.
So
musk.
Yeah, the dry down on that is a
flowery smell.
It does have a tad of florals in there. It does, and it actually, like on the opening, it actually smells a lot more feminine on the opening. But as it dries down, it goes much more unisex, as opposed to being just like straight up like a woman's fragrance.
But it also has like a oud taste.
Yeah. So the oud actually gives it that woodiness, which makes it much more of a unisex type fragrance. And the dry down on it is really nice. And this is one that I've actually worn and gotten compliments on, but it's just I don't reach for it a whole lot. It's not like super mass appealing, but it's not gross or anything either.
It's not gross.
Okay, so that leaves us with Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille, which is probably equally loved and not loved depending on what circles. This has like, obviously has tobacco, vanilla, has some cloves. I think the cloves in this are one of the things that some people find a little bit off-putting, but the people who love it, they adore it.
It almost smells like powdered deodorant. Women's deodorant.
Women's deodorant? You know what? That's you're right on this spray tab. It does in a way, with that little added tobacco or something. Let's spray this one on skin, because that's the only downside. I mean, I think with what you've pulled out of each of these has been rather accurate, but that is weird. On that spray tab, it does have a deodorant vibe to it, and I've never smelled that out of this fragrance before.
Oh, yeah.
And it could just be how it dried down on the spray tab. I'm not sure. That's odd. Yeah, that's way different on skin.
Okay.
There, smell that.
I don't know, I still kind of smell it.
Yeah, well, once it's in your head, it's hard to get rid of. I had
like a musky smell deodorant. So it has a little bit of that masculinity.
Right.
But I definitely smell the powder smell, like the...
Yeah, it does have a little bit of a powdery vibe to it.
Powdery vibe.
Yeah. So, okay. I mean, you're right. Now, like the women's deodorant that I smell, you'd think like, Secret or...
I'm talking about the original.
Yeah, just
the original powder
just straight up powder deodorant with unscented powder deodorant mixed with your DNA or whatever. Yeah, I see what you're saying completely.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's all of them. All right. Okay, so just to make it easy, we will pick your favorite, if you have a favorite, or your, say, like, least gross.
The one I can tolerate
the one you can tolerate the most, and then the one that you just absolutely despise. Or you could pick, like, the last three that you think are the worst.
Okay, the last three... Oud Monarch is the last three I despise.
And that was because you said it was a fecal mess.
Yeah. And this one's another fecal mess. Squid. Squid and... What was this one again?
That was Bull's Blood.
Yeah. Bull's blood.
Bull's blood.
Last 3.
So those are your least favorite. Is Bull's blood, Oud, Monarch, and Squid.
They even said.
Okay, so which one did you find? I mean, even if you pick 2 or 3 that you could tolerate, is there 3 that you could tolerate?
Well, I wear deodorant. I can tolerate this.
Okay, all right. So that was a thumbs up for Tobacco Vanille.
Yeah, and
the DELICE.
Yeah, I could probably tolerate that a little bit.
Okay.
And the barbershop.
Okay, so the Gravitas pour homme.
Yes.
All right, so not so bad for. So she likes barbershop. Oud if it's done where it's not fecal. And then Tobacco Vanille and Cloves. It smells like women's deodorant. And then we got one that smells like fish and bull's blood and shit.
Cheese.
Your butt cheese.
Mozzarella. Cheese.
So, I hope you enjoyed today's video. This was actually her concept, so kudos for Kayla thinking outside of the box with me to come up with a fun video idea. So let us know down in the comments if you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure that you show Kayla some love. Until next time, we'll see you on Carolina Fragrance Reviews.
Thank you.